leads to life and flourishing, the one's going to lead to self-destruction and death. That's what it's going to lead to. All of God's law, by the way, gives life. The phrase, I'm just a New Testament Christian, is absurd and an oxymoron. And I hear that way too many times. Christians only read the right side of the book because the left side of the book is too confusing. It's too long. Oh, no. Jesus came to fulfill the Old Testament. So therefore, it's no longer viable. And I don't have to pay attention to it because Jesus. Just ask them to explain what they mean by that. And they're not people who think that don't know. They just go, well, but I get it though. I get how people think, oh no, Jesus in the New Testament, I follow Jesus. I don't need Leviticus. That's what John the Baptist quoted to the king, by the way. And Jesus said John the Baptist was the best. So anyways, here's just quickly. And again, these verses are in the back of the bulletin. The scripture I read in the beginning of the service, Psalm 1. Blessed is the man who meditates on God's law day and night. When David wrote that, you know what he's thinking about? Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, not just that, but all of God's law. That's what that's talking about. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. All scripture is theopneustos, God breathed. It's meaning all the scriptures, especially when Paul's writing that, he's probably thinking mostly about the scriptures that were already written, the Old Testament. All scripture is theopneustos. It is profitable for teaching and correcting so that the man of God can be built up, so someone can become the person that God created them to be. Jesus, since people like to bring up Jesus says, not a jot or tittle of the law, not the crossing of a T or a dot of an I, is going to pass away from the law until all is accomplished. Now, people like to say, oh, Jesus was talking about this death and resurrection. So that's when Jesus said that, the death and resurrection didn't happen. Now that the death and resurrection happened, we throw away the Old Testament and we just focus on the Sermon on the Mount. Very nice try, A for effort. But when I look at the phrase, until all is accomplished, I'm taking that as in heaven and earth fully becoming one again. And I look out in the world, and heaven and earth are not fully one yet. We still have work to do. Everything is fulfilled. And the cross and resurrection are a part of that, but we still have work to do as God's church. And I had to summarize a 100-page chapter in that one book. I said that was expensive. So if you want to read more about that with fancy big words, that's what that chapter is about. Jesus also said in John chapter 10, Scripture cannot be broken. And if you say, oh, I don't care about the Old Testament, you're breaking the Scriptures apart. 1 Peter, quoting the Old Testament,